Everyone, this is my watch list for Tuesday, March 24th. All right, so what happened yesterday? We got the big spike in the pre-market. I talked about this because of the pause and military strikes against Iran. All right, and then we opened up and we moved right into that supply. Remember the 662 supply, failed that and wound up holding demand off the 655 level. All right, so it was basically a boxed session between range, right? Between 662 and 655. We were able to catch some nice trades yesterday, but this is exactly what happened. We stayed between 662 and 655 the entire session and into the close, right? And this morning we are flat, right? It's down 0.06%. Market's flat, and we're sitting at that demand, at that 655 demand, okay? So what are my levels for today? The supply stays the same. This is previous day high, right? 662, previous day high. That was the big level I talked about on the hourly, right? Remember all these demand bounces from March 6th, that demand turned into supply, right? So 662 stays the same, right? If we're below 662, we can still look for short opportunities. If we break above 662, we will push into 666, all right? Now, as far as the 655, I'm actually going to adjust this to the previous day low, right? So now my bias for downside will be, do we hold 654 or not, right? This is the previous day low, and I want to see, does market hold 654? Does it not hold 654? If we lose 654, this can turn into a sell side day, and I'll be looking for shorts under that as well, okay? Now, the even cleaner chart is actually QQQ. Let me show you ES on SPY first. All right, this isn't super clean, okay? Does this turn into some sort of a bull flag and, and the market rips higher? We'll have to wait and find out, right? There's no guarantee yet. However, you'll notice the same 662 supply was actually ES 6700, right? So this was an ES 6700 failure. This was prior hourly level, okay? And now the question is, right, does market hold and rip and reclaim 6700 for that push into 6750, or do we sell? And if we start selling, there is yesterday's low at 6620, but I think the real test is going to be 6600, right? That's the key whole number, and markets react to those big psychological whole numbers. So if we break and hold below 6,600, this could turn into a sell side event all the way back down to 6,500, all right? So 6,600 is my bias for downside. If we break above 6,700, then I'll be looking at longs, all right? And again, this all depends on how the market opens. Same as yesterday, right? How do we open today? All right, but those are the levels on ES and SPY. The even cleaner chart today, QQQ, right? QQQ, you see it just yesterday's low and pre-market low are the exact same level. I love when you have a double confirmation like that, right? It's the pre-market low and yesterday low is the exact same level. You can't say the same for SPY, right? Yesterday low is 654, pre-market low is 652.80. So it's about $1.20 difference versus the Qs today. It's 586, right? 586 yesterday low, 586 pre-market low. You can see this on the 5-minute as well. All right, so this is super obvious and clean, okay? Remember we talked about obvious and clean last week, and then we wound up getting a nasty move on Friday, okay? So 586, do we hold 586? Then we can look for longs today. Do we lose 586? Then we can look for shorts, right? We lose 586, we can look for shorts again back into that Friday low, 580, 579, okay? But again, the question is this a bull flag, right? Is this turning into some sort of bull flag and we wind up squeezing today higher? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see off the open, okay? But 586 for downside, 596, 595, which was previous day high. If we break this area, 595, 596, then we can look for longs back into 600, all right? And this is something we can watch for today. Do we break this flag, right? Do we break above the pre-market high at 590? Even above 590, we can start looking for longs if that's the case, okay? So that's something I'll be watching today on the Qs. We can look at NQ levels as well. It's 24,700. This was the failure of previous day high. This is the failure here, all right? 24,700 is your level for upside on the Qs. If we break 24,700, we will likely push back into 25,000. Okay, 300 point potential move on NQ to the upside if that happens. Downside, we can just use the overnight session lows, 24,200, right? 24,200. If we lose that, then we likely push into this key psychological hold number at 24,200 point move, right? So that's really our potential, okay? And it just depends on how the market opens today. Do we hold, do we rip, do we rally, or do we sell? Don't try to predict what's going to happen. Just react to what is going to happen, right? React to what's happening. Don't predict what's going to happen, okay? So that's buying QQQ. Let's take a look at some individuals. Apple, it's the same level I talked about yesterday. It's the 255. If we reclaim 255, we're gonna get a nice push here. It's a bit far away from that right now, but that's still the level that I'm watching, okay? 255. AMD, we caught a nice scalp on this yesterday. It didn't wind up giving much continuation. It pushed into 208. We got in around 206.50. It's like a $1.50 move. It was a good scalp, but no continuation, okay? So today I'm watching, well, does it reclaim 206, right? Because that was my level from yesterday. If we reclaim 206, we should get a push into yesterday's high, 209. And then 209 is where it can actually turn into a squeeze, right? This was the high from Wednesday. This is also the previous day high. We break 209, then it's going to 216, right? That level that I talked about before, okay? AMD, okay? I'm not really watching anything on Amazon. If you were to watch anything, remember this 212, 213, which was previous day high. You can look for a break over that 212, 213 for a move into 216, right? Which are these highs from Wednesday and actually the two prior Wednesdays, okay? For 2 weeks straight. All right, my main watch today, Meta. Meta is my main watch. If we reclaim 610, I talked about this level 610, 610, 610. If we reclaim 610, we can get a nice squeeze back into the 620s, right? So this is actually my main watch. It's the strongest looking chart. It held that big demand at 585 really nicely. Does this turn into a little bull flag here and we rip above 610? That's what I'll be watching, okay? Netflix is another name I'm watching today. I wasn't watching it yesterday, but now I am, all right? It bounced 1.7% off the 90 level, and now we are approaching a breakout, right? So if we draw the trend line on the hourly here, right? This is very clearly downtrend, right? But it's a downtrend and a strong uptrend, right? This is ever since we ripped and rallied, right, and gapped up, this is an uptrend, right? This is an uptrend. It's just pulling back. Sellers came in off the 100 level, makes sense, right? So again, these key psychological hold numbers, you're going to see those big reactions. So sellers came in or buyers took profit, whatever it may be, that was the case. And we pulled back into 90, right? So we made that $10 move back into 90, but yesterday it caught a bid. Yesterday we got some momentum. So now, do we break? Do we break this, little 1 hour, 4 hour downtrend and regain that momentum to push back into 100, okay? So the level that I'm watching today is simply previous day high. And remember this 94 level I talked about last week. If we break 94, we should get to 96. And then if we break 96, I think we just go back to 100, okay? But 94, previous day high. If we break 94, we would also be breaking out of this little trend, and that can start the momentum upside, right? So Netflix over 94 is my watch for today. Nvidia, not really watching today. I mean, it has to, reclaim 180 at this point, and it's just too far away from demand as well. Not really watching anything on Nvidia. Palantir, this was a beautiful trade yesterday. Absolutely beautiful. 156 retest, right? It broke above 156. It was really fast off the open. Look at the size of these candles, right? So it was a little bit tricky to catch. You would have just had to kind of buy as soon as it broke 156 or taking this pullback, which is what I wound up doing around 11:55. It pulled back into 156. and bounced off of that level and wound up closing really strong, okay? So now the level is this previous high from Friday, March 6th, 161.50. However, I probably won't take this long over that level because if you look at the daily, let me turn on the 200 SMA, boom, it's right there at 163, all right? So if we break 161.50, this may only have room into 163. That's like $1.50 move. The risk reward is no longer appetizing for me, okay? I prefer these type of moves where you're catching the move early, right? 156 into the 160s, that's 4 delta. You're risking 1 delta. Those are 4 to 1 risk reward trades, or 1 to 4 risk reward trades. And those are the ones that I like, okay? This one with $1.50 move up, potential, into that 200 SMA. It's a little tricky, and stocks tend to have big reactions off of that 200-day. You can see right here, okay? So I probably won't take this today, right? But oh wait, I forgot Tesla. Tesla, I'm also watching 385, right? Previous day high, hourly level, back here, boxed from Thursday, back here, right? Back here, March 3rd, March 9th, right? 385, we break 385. I think we go back into the 390s, okay? So Tesla is another name that I'm watching. Tesla and Meta over 610 and Netflix over 94. That's my main watch for today, okay? All right, thanks for joining, everyone. Again, this is my watch list for Tuesday, March 24th. Thanks, guys. Good luck today.